Alright, so once you have your letters and you've grabbed the guidelines, now remember for guidelines you want to show the rulers, that's View and Rulers or Command R, and then you click and you pull the guideline down and you put one at the top of the letters, one at the bottom. Make sure they're nice and even. If you decide you don't want to see those anymore, you can go to View and you can just go to Show and click Guides again, and that will unclick them and they'll go away. Those will not print, by the way. So if you printed it, that blue does not print. Alright, now linking and sizing, we know how to link. You click the top letter and then shift click the bottom and click your link button. And now let's put some layer styles on the letter. Actually, let's look at backgrounds first, because I think it kind of helps to know what your background's going to be before you pick the layer style. Alright, so I'm going to use this picture, but I wanted to make it look a little more interesting. So I actually went and got a texture from the handout folder in Graphics 1. The folder's called High Res Textures, and you can go ahead and put the window in the little view mode, scroll through them. The one I ended up picking, I was kind of experimenting earlier to see what I liked, but this one right here, so I just dragged it in. It's already in there, and that is here. And now I'm going to play around with using some adjustment layers, using some blending modes. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this texture blending mode. So I don't want it to be normal. I'm actually going to play around, and there's different things I can do. Hue, saturation, color. The one I really liked was luminosity. And I'm going to use that, but I'm going to drop the opacity of it just a little bit. Once again, if you could not talk, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So I'm going to drop the opacity down a little bit. And that I thought looked kind of neat. It looked like an illustration to me rather than a photograph. I also played around with the idea of using one of those, like when we did the sepia on the tiger. Same thing, so I'm going to put an adjustment layer on it, but I'm going to use a gradient. And I was playing around with this orangey yellowy gradient. And then I'm going to adjust that to color. And actually that wasn't what I did. What did I do? I might have set one of these other ones. Ooh, that's cool. I like that. Let's see luminosity. No. They're all going to show you a different look. So you can kind of check out what you want. I'm going to go with this one, but I'm going to drop it down, the opacity, so that it tones it. I don't remember what I picked before. I liked it better, though, than this. But I took it off just so I could show you how to do it. Oh well, we'll go with that. So, next, layer styles. So I'm going to go to one of my letters. I'm going to double click in the blue part of the layer. Watch this if you don't know how to do drop shadows, strokes, bevels. You have to include these on your letters. Okay, this is not optional. This is one of your project requirements. That's so that you use it. And plus they look a whole lot better if you do. So you double click on the blue part of the layer, and then you can choose the options. So drop shadow, I'm working with my R right now. So there's my drop shadow. To adjust the drop shadow, I'm going to click the word drop shadow. And then I can do things like adjust the distance. I can adjust the spread, which is going to make the drop shadow bolder. I can adjust the size, which is going to make the shadow fuzz out. Now when you put an effect on something, I would use a lighter hand rather than a heavier hand. You want the letter to be you know, the focal point. You don't want the effect to take over. So I wouldn't use a super heavy effect if I were you. Just keep it a little lighter. Another one that might look good here is bevel emboss. I'll click the word, and then I could do, you know, there's different ones. There's outer, there's inner, there's regular emboss, pillow emboss. It's kind of cool. It looks like it was stamped in there. Stroke emboss. That one doesn't do anything. All of these, though, can be adjusted. Here you can adjust the depth, the size. Now, once again with this, a light hand instead of a heavy hand, so that you want to be able to see the picture, so you don't want that effect to be really heavy. Strokes, putting an outline on the letters. And I'd already messed with one earlier, and what I decided I liked the idea of was a gradient stroke. So I clicked stroke, and then I clicked the word stroke, and instead of doing a solid color, I switched to gradient, and then I sampled darker and lighter versions of blue. So I have a gradient. I'll make it thick so you can kind of see what it looks like. So you can kind of see there, it goes from lighter to darker. Now that's with a 70 or 27 point stroke. I won't keep it that dark, or that heavy. I'd maybe go with 4 for this lettering. So once you like the effect, you can actually copy that effect and you can put it on each letter. And here's how you do it. You basically go to the effect in the layer panel. You hold your option key down. And just like how you can move, you know, drag and copy, you can do the same thing with the effect. So I'm going to copy that stroke down to all my letters. So I don't have to set them, you know, independently. I can just go ahead and drag them. So that's a really easy way to do this. And then if I wanted to see the image without the rulers, I'm going to get rid of those rulers by going to View, Show, and I'll unclick my guides. I didn't mean rulers, actually. I meant guides there. So now I can kind of see what that looks like. And I actually don't like it as much as I liked it before when the color was a little different. So I think I'm going to stop this demo, but I am going to mess with the color a little before I stop with this. Let me just show you on some of these other ones. So this one with Bali, the background here is a combination of 2 images. It's that landscape and then this map. The map is set to pin light in the layer blending mode. So normal, let's check out normal. Normal looks like that. And basically all I did was I just went and I tried them out. You know, what looks good? And some of them are going to look bad. But I found that I liked pin light, liked that look, and I thought it looked good with the lettering. So combo of images can be really nice. This one has a gradient adjustment layer. So it's simply a pinkish to a yellow set on darker color blending mode. And then I also messed around with color balance, just adjusting slightly, and with hue saturation. So I just took away some of the saturation a little bit. I graded out slightly. But mess around with it and see what you can get. If you haven't already experimented with layer blending modes, I recommend that you do that for this. And you'll get some really interesting effects. Try to, whatever you do for your background picture, don't let it fight with your letters. You want it to kind of be, you know, helping the letters stand out because you have good contrast as opposed to trying to take over. Busy city scenes, pictures where there's a lot going on are not a good choice for the background. And so even if you love the picture, you know, kind of think more about what's best for the design as opposed to what you might like better or not.